Hey, what's up? I'm going to talk about P Diddy. Fact of the matter is, I saw a video about it, and it's on my mind. Just because of how insane kind of the scale of it is. So when I was checking it out, as far as the it was like the press conference that the lawyer that is prosecuting the case has, and he was saying that they have over 100 people that have cases that have enough merit that would allow them to kind of, because like the lawyer is not going to take a case to court unless they have a pretty good idea of whether or not it'll be successful. So I guess they got like 3,500 tips on this, give or take, and they like filtered through all of those different like tips and kind of, I forgot to add the disclaimer, but these are all opinions, they're not facts. I'm talking about publicly available information that was provided by public figures, and this video is just for entertainment purposes only. But yep, let's get back to it. I don't know what they would call them. So like cases, so they would filter through all of these cases and then like check out the evidence and then figure out like, hey, you know, this particular case has enough merit that like we might be able to like actually get a verdict in court. So when I was checking that out and learned that there was that many people affected, first of all, I wasn't really surprised. As messed up as that sounds, I wasn't surprised because like these people like that, like sick, twisted people like that, I think we don't realize like how much and how often we encounter those type of people, like every day. Not every day, but a lot more days than we would like. And yeah, you're not encountering them in a way that would be compromising, like that you would be like, you know, wrapped up in something that would go bad, kind of like a lot of the victims kind of had to deal with. But I guess like as I've gotten older, and I don't know, like if you're in your like early 20s or something, so to speak, I hate to say it, but there's a lot of things that you're gonna run into and you're gonna learn throughout life, and like you're gonna start to realize that people can be so terrifying, and you would never know it. Because the big thing I took away from P Diddy is no matter how many eyes you have on you, right? No matter how many people are watching what you do, and like we like to think that there's checks and balances because of kind of how many eyes were on kind of like his celebrity status and all that. The fact of the matter is, like, if you have enough people that support someone, right, and enough people that are willing to keep secrets for someone, like, the sky's the limit. Like, if you have enough people that will go along with someone's messed up behavior, that's why P Diddy was able to do this. Like, he wasn't some serial killer psychopath in the woods, like, that was just kind of like taking victims like one at a time and keeping everything a secret. Like, no, he was able to do this because of just how much, I would think he has, like, I don't know how to say it without sounding like, I guess he has agents, publicists, corporations that sponsor him, like all these different things, and it all comes down to money, I think, because that's kind of like what I've noticed, and I'm sure everyone has noticed, that like the worst evils of the world comes down to money. And I was thinking about it, like, okay, like if a company, like a huge Fortune 500 company sponsored, oh, actually, before I get into that part, I should probably explain in case like you're not super familiar with it. But so what happened was it was found out because a bunch of people came forward that P Diddy was allegedly doing a lot of unsavory things. And it's kind of like, it's like such a mixed bag because there's all sorts of things that are coming out, like human trafficking, false imprisonment, like essay of people of all ages. Like there's a lot of, younger folks that were like his victims. And of course, like everything I'm saying is like alleged. I don't know. He hasn't been convicted yet. But like, if I'm gonna make my personal opinion, like I think he's totally guilty. I think he's 100% guilty, but I don't know. So anyway, these people finally came forward, and all of this has been going on since the 90s. That this guy's been doing this kind of messed up stuff. Allegedly, he started having these kind of like parties where you would go to the party and you'd be able to do things that were not acceptable. And one of the big ways they would get like victims at these parties is they would give them the option. They'd be like, here, we made this special drink for you, and you have to drink it in order to get into the party. Like, and it was a psychological trick, right? Because the big thing, like, if you're like people like to feel like they're around important people, right? So if like you have the ability to go to this like party with these crazy celebrities and stuff, you're gonna drink the drink, you know what I mean? You're gonna like say like, okay, great. Because as far as you're concerned, like all the magazines say like, oh, this is P Diddy, like he's a great rapper, all this stuff. There's like no warning signs, right? So how can these people protect themselves when there's literally no warning signs? It's when I see people like, I've saw like little supporting posts and stuff, how they're like, oh, all these people are lying for clout and all this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, of all things, like to lie about, like, why would someone ever choose something like that? Like that they went to a party and got like essayed and, all this stuff. And I thought to myself, like, okay, so I'll back it up. So anyway, they had these parties where like they would take the drink, and then the drink would be laced with something crazy and it would knock them out, right? So they would, be out, and they could do like they could do whatever they wanted to the person because they would, not be in their right state of mind. So that being said, like when it kind of started to come out, I think it was like it was almost similar to the Epstein stuff, because it was like, one came out and then that made others feel, more comfortable to come forward with their experience and so on and so forth. Because that's how a lot of these things work, where they, one thing comes out that's, compromising about someone who's really powerful and kind of, frightening to the average person. And then everyone, a lot more people start to kind of get the courage to tell the truth and tell their experience of what happened. Try not to get killed by this, like, giant pot, man. Yo. So the floodgates came open, and then once they got that like lawyer, the lawyer guy who decided that he was gonna, be the one to step up and really seriously try and prosecute this stuff. I think that's when people started to like really think like, hey, this is what happened to me, and like I'm gonna tell people about it. I'm gonna kill this, like, there we go. So all that being said, now we're at the point where they have to gather evidence, right? Gather cases and take those cases to court. And apparently they're going to do it in the next like 30 days. So like they're going to try, I guess, to do it in the next 30 days. So that's kind of the preface of, you know, what's going on. But the thing my thought about it, and when I'm kind of in my mind when I'm looking at people's reactions and what they like think of the situation, I'm reminded that a lot of people kind of get tunnel vision when it comes to these types of situations, because they start to like think of it as like a fringe kind of situation where, oh, it's like, you know, this isn't happening every single day. And it is. Like, this kind of a thing happens all the time. And I think a lot of times, what I know actually is that a lot of people aren't taught any skills to give themselves like the upper hand when it comes to potentially being in a situation and how to like handle it, get the warning signs. And I think the reason why that happens is of people being kind of cautious not to victim blame. Because victim blame, oh my gosh, that dude. Because like I think that's one of the biggest fears is the victim blaming thing, where they're like, oh, you know, if you try to like coach people on how to do XYZ, or you might come across like you're saying like, well, you know, if you did this, you would have been fine. But in all actuality, like, that's just not acceptable. Like, you can't ever blame someone for doing that, because it's not something they asked for. It's not something they were hoping for or anything like that. So with what I was kind of thinking about when I'm like reading all this stuff and like watching all this stuff is like, it's just, it comes down to, I think it comes down to like subtle hints that are so hard for like the average person who likes to think that most people are good-natured, to kind of pick up on, right? Because I mean, I used to kind of I don't want to sound jaded, but I used to think like the best of everybody, kind of the benefit of the doubt, right? But as I've like gotten older, I've abandoned giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like, people are disgusting. Like, I'm not saying everyone is, but they will do whatever they want to do in order to get what they want, and never think twice about it. And that's what I think. I think that's a big part of what makes Diddy and people like that in his circle as dangerous as they are, is because like they don't have the remorse or the moral compass to understand that what they're doing is not okay. And when they had this like big support system kind of propping themselves up, there was like no checks and balances of people saying like, hey, like what you're doing is not right, like you need to stop doing that. It was all yes people and like confirmation bias and groupthink, and that's just so dangerous. But when I was learning some things, because like my frame of reference comes from when I had a job like that I'm still in right now, but I had a job where I got relentlessly mobbed. When, like, if you don't know what workplace mobbing is, it's pretty much when a whole bunch of people in the company go after one person. And I was being like gaslit and abused incessantly. Yo, dudes. Yeah, I'll just spam this. All right, nice. And I didn't know what was going on during it. That was the problem. Like, I didn't know that what was going on was specifically that type of stuff. So it was really hard for me to get out of the situation or like try to plan my escape because I didn't know the warning signs. So like what I want to do, I kind of want to go over some like warning signs when you can kind of tell that that there's something that is not right. Like something's not right in the situation, like kind of a red flag. And like this, a lot of times this gets marketed to women all the time. Not all the time, just a lot more frequently than men. And I think both sides of the coin would benefit, or I would say everyone in general would benefit from understanding this. And I'd say the first thing is to have a mindset that is less about giving people the benefit of the doubt and shamelessly being skeptical. Because you don't have, like, you do not have to be friends with anybody. You don't have to give anybody special treatment when you first meet them. Like, it's all situation based, of course. Like, yeah, if you're getting a new job and you have an interview, like, yeah, you're going to treat the situation differently than just someone random on the street. But it's okay to understand that, like, you don't owe anyone a goddamn thing. Like, you don't owe anybody anything. You don't have to be anything specific for people. I think. Real quick, I just got to add that you have to operate within the frame of the law. Like, you can't do anything illegal. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a bunch of opinions about like behaviors and situations and stuff, and like it's all my opinions, and I'm not an expert in any of this. So just like take it or leave it. I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, back to it. To fit within like the mold of society, of course, but like you don't have to go as far. Well, to trust people all the time or give people the benefit of the doubt, because that is what I've seen gets people in trouble all the time. Is like they'll talk to someone for like a very short amount of time and they get a little bit of a sense of who they are, and then they automatically think that they know them. Like, oh, it feels like I've known him forever, or it feels like I've known her my whole life. Whenever you say something like that, I would say that's one of the number one red flags that I've learned is like if you meet someone and it feels otherworldly and like you can't believe that you've met this person, or you're like, oh my gosh, I met this guy and he says like he's going to get me this job and it's going to be an incredible opportunity, and it all seems to be happening so fast. That's when I would like take a step back and be like, what's going on? Like, what's going on really? It's like going beyond the saying, like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Oh my gosh, you guys, I can't win with this. Oh, there's no one in there. Is there? Yo, there totally is. Oh, no, it's empty. Okay. But the sociopath thing and like manipulative people and people who would just like want to be like users and abusers, the one thing they try to do is make you believe and trust them as soon as possible. That's their like MO. They want you to feel at ease, and they always want there to be like some sort of exchange of goods, whether it be opportunities or like a specific job or prospect of like intimacy. When I say like prospect of intimacy, like, you know what I mean, like that kind of an intimacy. Like maybe they're saying to you like something like this, we're gonna do XYZ, or like that sort of thing. And I'd say a lot of times that's how people try and win you back as well. Like if they say you get double, oh no, well, let me finish what I was saying before. I really like do these videos like stream of consciousness where I just kind of like say what's on my mind. Really kind of saying is if you meet someone and you feel like there's this otherworldly connection and you've hit the jackpot, whether it be like for money, success, sex, like anything like that, I would take that as a red flag. And it's perfectly okay to say to someone like, it was nice talking to you, but I'm not interested in continuing the conversation. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't know you can do. And it harkens back to like what I was saying where like you don't owe anybody a goddamn thing. Like you don't owe them a text back. You don't owe them any pics. Like none of that stuff. You're the boss. So anyway, I said that, and the next thing I kind of was thinking about is like people that double cross you and try and be your friend after it. So like I've had situations like in relationships where like, yeah, there's a fight. You know what I mean? You get in a fight with someone and maybe, you know, you start to second guess like whether or not you made the right choice or whether or not this person is right for you. And that's, oh no, I got so far. I got so far, and in the end, it never even mattered. Damn it. Okay. But I guess I'll do it like a specific example. Like, so I was dating this person, right? Oh my God, I'm all the way back here. I was dating this person, and I don't know, it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 months in. So it was still relatively new. And like, I felt like a lot of the time going through like hanging out with them and doing different things, it just always seemed like I was playing defense the whole time. Like I was always trying to explain myself. I was always trying to be like, you know, this is why I did this. This is why I thought that. You know, it was almost like I started to question whether or not I knew who I really was. And that's what I mean as far as like the chaos and starting to really question whether or not, like, you're questioning whether or not the person like is the right one for you, right? And like toxic people can sense that from like a mile away, and they sense that sort of thing, and then they start like kind of going back to, you know, like trying to win you back. And I would say the biggest mistake I made is actually like believing that people can change, because honestly, it might sound really bitter, but like I don't think people change. I think people adapt, but I don't think they actually change. I think a lot of people make their best efforts, you know, genuinely, and they go out in the world and try, you know, not to be awful and all this stuff. But in all actuality, I think, well, if you meet someone and they're like an absolute jerk, believe them. Like, believe them they're going to be awful, and believe that they're going to be like that forever. Because in the end, if you don't believe them, like, they're just going to walk all over you, and you'll start to get the feeling kind of that I had, where I was constantly explaining myself, and then I started questioning whether or not I was the right one in this situation. And that was kind of the evidence as to the fact that I wasn't essentially... Oh, yo, I made it that time. That I wasn't in the wrong, so to speak, is like a toxic person like P Diddy, for example, and I like mentioned this earlier on. They don't question their actions. Like, they don't question whether or not what they do hurts people. They don't question whether or not they are... They don't question whether or not their relationships are toxic. Everything's like transactional in their mind. Like, what can this person do for me to get me where I want to go? And they never question whether or not they're hurting people in the process. Those are the people that are dangerous. And like, if you've ever been in a situation where you're actually questioning yourself, well, maybe I am in the wrong, or like maybe I did the wrong thing, or maybe there's like a way I could have handled that better. Like, you're already 20 steps ahead of like most people. Many people are total trash, but they're wrapped up in like beautiful wrapping paper. And I think that's like the biggest metaphor I can kind of give for Diddy. All right, so I gotta do this, boss. I came here because I want to get Yasha's katana. That's like the... All right, let's do this. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. I have mimicked here, so this shouldn't be too bad. Oh. Oh, Zhu, this is nuke. Oh, wow, he hurts. Ow. Oh, that was close. This is new game +2 or +1. I don't know. I'm level 266, but I don't know if that matters. All right, let's go. All right, well, anyway, I guess that's all I'll say about it. But adios, be well, don't take life too seriously. I'll see you in the next one.